This video shows you how I wrote my rough draft of my summary. Okay, now that you know what we're doing for our summary and why we're writing it, one of the things that I want to clarify is using this instruction sheet over here. This is something that you got in paper. I have it on my computer just so that you can see it as I'm writing my paragraph. Keep this instruction sheet handy because it's going to help remind you what the paragraphs need to be about and also how I'm going to be grading you to use that information. The other document you want to have open on your computer is your actual notes document. You will be going back to that to get the information, the names of the websites or books that you used. Okay? And then you need a blank document, which you're going to call your last name, summary, and you're going to add a title, your name, and then your science period to this document so that you can clarify it. When I begin writing, I always look at what my instructions are supposed to be. Your spacing should be at 1.5 to 2. Okay, 1.5 to 2. Makes it a lot easier for me to read, especially on the computer. My first paragraph, remember that we're focusing on the facts that you learned. So in my first paragraph, I'm going to talk about what my topic is, how it relates to water scarcity, and basically my facts that I learned about this topic. You don't want it to be super boring, so you don't want to just list facts, talk fact, 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 fact. You want to make sure that you add transitions so that it reads easier when you read the paragraph. So I'm going to begin. I was researching how water scarcity affects women and children. During my research, I learned that water scarcity affects women differently than men. And what I'm doing right now is I'm going into my notes because if this sentence that I just said is going to be a fact, I need to give a little hint for the reader to show where I got that information from. So I'm going back to right here, and in this one it talks about how women's primary job is water, sanitation, and health, and this is where I'm getting this statement from. So I'm going to quote UN Water, Gender, and Sanitation, and the way you do that is you write UN, or you can actually just write the title of the article, which is Gender, Water, and Sanitation. Okay. This little parenthesis, what it tells me is that the information I have just said comes from this article. Okay? All right. During my research, I learned that water scarcity affects women differently than men. This is because in water scarce areas, crops die, and men are forced to go and find a job in town or in a nearby city. So the women who stay behind have to collect water to provide for the house and their family. Okay, and this information I got actually from this PDF right here, and there was no author that I could find, but the article was called Woman's Eye View. Sorry, I'm fixing it. Usually you put the period after the quotation, the parenthesis there. Okay. So the women who stay behind have to collect water to provide for the house and their family. Children are also affected by water scarcity differently. This is because, in general, children have weaker immune systems, and in water scarce areas, sometimes the water is unsanitary. The children drink this unsanitary water, and often get sick and can even die from water-borne diseases. Okay, now this information, okay, I got here from the UNICEF, and I also have it right here from UNICEF again. So I'm going to say one statistic from UNICEF is that approximately 3,000 children die a day from these water-borne diseases. Okay, so right now, if you guys notice, I did a different kind of citation, and that's where I just wrote the title of the, in this case, the corporation, into my sentence. This is also a way of citing where you got your information within the paragraph, okay? I'm going to continue on here. So I talked about the water, how it's unsanitary. In another website, water.org, it is claimed that water diseases cause many students, many children, to miss school. And if children had access to clean water, there would be 272 million more attendance days a year. Now here is another way I did it. So one statistic from UNICEF, right? So there I just put it into the sentence. Here I kind of put it in the side, but still in the sentence. Okay, so let me read my paragraph. I was researching how water scarcity affects women and children. During my research, I learned that water scarcity affects women differently than men. This is because in water scarce areas, crops die and men are forced to go and find a job in town or in a city nearby. So the women who stay behind have to collect water to provide for the house and their family. Children are also affected by water scarcity differently. This is because, in general, children have weaker immune systems, and in water-scarce areas, sometimes the water is unsanitary. The children drink this unsanitary water and often get sick and can even die from waterborne diseases. One statistic from UNICEF is that approximately 3,000 children die a day from these waterborne diseases. In another website, water.org, it is claimed that water diseases cause many children to miss school, and if children had access to clean water, there would be 272 million more attendance days a year. Okay, so here I've sort of started writing about the problem, One of the things that I should mention is where this problem is happening, and so I'm going to use some of my other research to talk a little bit more about that. Okay? A water scarce area, so this difference of women and children is mostly seen in developing countries, such as, now I have a very long list on my notes page, as you can see, oops, right here, of countries. I personally think it's important to represent sort of different areas of the world, so I'm going to try to choose a few different ones that from different parts of the world, such as Australia, such as parts of Australia, primarily in the desert there, Peru, Mozambique, India, Morocco, and Pakistan. Obviously, I'm not saying those are the only countries where this happens, but I'm just trying to give examples of what a developing country is. Alright, so my second paragraph is going to be about the consequence question. Why should you care about your topic and water scarcity in general? And this, boys and girls, is going to have a little bit more opinion. So the first paragraph is primarily facts, all the facts you learned, showing me what you learned about your topic, okay? The second paragraph is going to come down to your thoughts about what you learned about your topic, okay? So the consequence question, again, is why should we care about your topic and water scarcity? So, women and children, and actually, I'm going to start with my research shows that women and children are affected more affected, there we go, by water scarcity. This is an issue because it means that women and children in water scarce areas have a lower quality of life. This is important because if we can lessen or preserve our water, lessen our water use, I'm going to take away that second part there. Lessen our water use. This is important because if we can lessen our water use, we can improve quality of life for people around the world. Around the world. So, although at first I thought the topic of women and children was not related to water scarcity, it is actually linked closely. Water scarcity, sorry. It is actually linked closely. Whoops. Is actually linked closely. So although the first and I think that's a good start. Obviously, I'm going to go back and edit this and add things to it, but what I wanted you to be able to get from this video is sort of an idea of the process that you're going to have to go through to write your summary.